Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining us today. We have a brand new story to share, and this one is deeply personal. Have you ever thought you knew someone completely, only to realize they were someone else entirely? It's a shocking experience, one that shakes you to your core, leaving you questioning everything. That's exactly what happened to me. And today, I'm going to take you through the journey of how I uncovered the truth. My name is Charlie, and for 3 years, I was in love with a woman named Ivonne. But it wasn't just love. I truly believed she was my future. I wasn't actively searching for love when I met her. Sometimes, life just hands you something so good, so perfect, that you know you'd be a fool to let it slip away. We met at a volunteer event, just another ordinary Saturday, or so I thought. I was there to help, expecting nothing more than a day of giving back. Then I saw her. She was standing by a table, handing out bottled water to volunteers, laughing and chatting as if she had known everyone for years. And when our eyes met, it was like time slowed down. It sounds cliché, but that's how it felt. There was something about her, an energy, a warmth, that drew me in immediately. From the moment we started talking, everything felt effortless. No awkward pauses, no forced small talk, just an easy, natural connection. We quickly discovered how much we had in common. We both valued kindness. We both had a passion for traveling. And most importantly, we both believed in the importance of giving back to the world. By the end of that event, I knew I had to see her again. And from that day forward, Ivonne became a part of my life. 3 years passed in what felt like the blink of an eye. We built something strong together. We went on trips, met each other's families, and made plans for a future that seemed so certain. She became my best friend, my safe place, the person I could count on no matter what. When the time felt right, I got down on one knee and asked her to be my wife. She said yes. In that moment, I thought I had won the jackpot. The months that followed were a whirlwind of wedding planning. We chose a venue, put together guest lists, and like any couple, had our fair share of disagreements over minor details that, in hindsight, didn't even matter. Sure, it was stressful, but through it all, I was just excited to marry the woman I loved. Life felt perfect, but perfection is often an illusion, and I had no idea that my perfect world was about to come crashing down. A month before the wedding, Ivonne came to me with an idea. She wanted to take a trip, a girls' getaway to Miami with her closest friends. She framed it as one last adventure before becoming a married woman, a way to relax before the big day. At first, I hesitated. Not because I didn't trust her, but because we were buried under wedding preparations. Taking off for a week seemed like an unnecessary distraction, but she reassured me. She wasn't going alone. She'd be with her closest friends, women I had met many times, some of whom had even attended our engagement party. These weren't just her friends. They had become part of our circle. There was no reason for me to worry. In fact, I encouraged her to go. She had been carrying a lot on her shoulders, managing guest lists, coordinated with vendors, and handling family expectations. I saw the weight of it all pressing down on her, and if a few days in the sun with her friends would help her unwind, why would I say no? After all, trust is the foundation of any relationship, and I trusted Ivonne completely. The morning of her flight, I drove her to the airport. She was practically glowing, dressed in a light summer outfit, sunglasses perched on her head, already in vacation mode. Before she walked into the terminal, she turned, kissed me, and told me she loved me. I smiled, watching her disappear into the crowd, completely unaware that this trip would change everything. While she was away, I decided to do something special for her. I wanted to surprise her with our honeymoon, a dream getaway to Santorini. She had always talked about how much she wanted to go there, and I knew this would make her incredibly happy. Without hesitation, I booked a luxury resort with a private ocean view. It was expensive, but she was worth it. As I clicked confirm on the reservation, I could already picture her reaction. Her eyes lighting up, her excitement, her arms wrapping around me in gratitude. I had no idea that while I was planning our future, she was busy destroying it. 5 days into her trip, I was at home, exhausted from handling last-minute wedding logistics, when my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, assuming it was spam, but something made me open it. The message was short, brutal, a gut punch to the stomach. Asterisk, you're a fool. You're wasting money on a wedding while Yvonne is having the time of her life with another man. Asterisk, I frowned, my mind struggling to process the words. Then, before I could react, a series of videos loaded beneath the text. My hands felt clammy as I tapped the first one. There she was, Yvonne, on a dimly lit dance floor, wearing a tight dress, wrapped around a man I had never seen before. Their bodies were pressed together, moving in sync to the music. She was laughing, her head thrown back, completely lost in the moment. My throat went dry, but it didn't stop there. The next video showed her on the beach, curled up next to another man, their legs tangled together in the sand. His hands traced slow, deliberate circles on her skin, and she wasn't pulling away. She wasn't resisting. If anything, she looked completely comfortable, like this was just another normal night for her. Then came the screenshots, a group chat, her friends laughing, joking about her wild nights in Miami. They weren't shocked. They weren't concerned. They were cheering her on. One of them even wrote, asterisk, girl, you're having too much fun. Charlie better not find out. Asterisk, my entire body went cold. For a few minutes, I considered calling her. I wanted to hear her voice, to demand an explanation, but something held me back. I needed more than blurry videos from an unknown number. I needed undeniable proof. And more than that, I needed to know, asterisk, who asterisk had sent me these videos? Someone had wanted me to see this. Someone had wanted to expose Yvonne. But why? I started by tracing the number. It wasn't hard. A few online tools, a little digging, and soon I had my answer. The messages had come from one of Yvonne's own friends. Someone who had been on that trip with her. That was the moment everything became clear. This wasn't some outsider trying to ruin my life out of malice or jealousy. This was personal. One of her own people, someone who had been close enough to witness everything, had turned against her. And they didn't just want to expose the truth. They wanted me to understand exactly why they were doing it. I took a deep breath, my mind racing, and sent a message to her friend's Instagram handle. We followed each other, so I knew she'd see it. I didn't come at her with anger or accusations. I just kept it direct. I know it was you. The response came almost instantly. No hesitation, no denial. Are you texting to thank me for saving you? She wasn't playing games. She had done this for a reason, and she wanted me to see the full extent of it. Prove these aren't fake. I typed back. I needed more than just a few blurry videos from an unknown number. I needed undeniable proof. She didn't argue. She didn't waste time defending herself. Instead, she sent more. More pictures. More videos. More truth. The first video felt like a punch to the gut. Yvonne was sitting on some guy's lap, her arms draped around his neck, her lips pressed firmly to his. No hesitation, no reluctance. It was intimate, familiar, as if this wasn't the first time she had done something like this. Then came the recordings. In one, she was laughing with her friends, her voice carrying the easy confidence of someone who had no idea she was being recorded. I mean, I love Charlie, but his family? God, they're so annoying. His mom is always acting like she's better than everyone. And his sister? Please. If she wasn't his sister, I wouldn't even talk to her. My chest tightened. These were the people who had embraced her, welcomed her in as one of their own. My mother had treated her like a daughter. My sister had gone out of her way to include her in every aspect of our lives. And this was how she spoke about them when she thought no one was listening? But the next recording was worse. So much worse. Look, it was just a one-night thing. I was drunk, he was hot, and it was Miami. It's not like I'm going to marry the guy. Besides, it's not that deep. My breath caught in my throat. My ears started ringing. I had to play it again just to make sure I had heard it right. But there was no mistaking her voice. No mistaking the casual way she dismissed it all, as if it were nothing, as if I were nothing. I needed answers. So I made one last move. I called a friend who had sent me everything. She answered on the first ring, as if she had been waiting for my call. So I said, my voice tight. Why? She didn't hesitate. Because you deserve to know. She let out a slow breath before continuing. Yvonne acts like she's better than everyone. Like she's this perfect, loyal girlfriend when she's really just selfish. I was sick of it. She talks down to me, talks down her other friends, and she sure as hell doesn't respect you. So yeah, I expose her. She wasn't apologetic. If anything, she sounded like she had been waiting to do this for a long time. But I understood then that this wasn't really about me. It was about her own resentment toward Yvonne. I had my proof. And now I had a decision to make. When Yvonne came back from Miami, she greeted me like nothing had changed. She hugged me, kissed me, told me she missed me. She even brought back souvenirs. Cheap keychains and a t-shirt were ridiculous. I Red Heart Miami print on it. She stood there, smiling, recounting how much she had needed the trip to relax before the wedding. She was lying. And the worst part? She had no idea that I knew. So I played along. I nodded when I needed to, forced a small smile when she made a joke. I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of an argument. No, I was going to let her believe everything was normal. That was the only way this would work. While she was picking flower arrangements, I was making my own plans. Plans she would never see coming. The night before the wedding, I sat down with my family, my parents, my siblings, the people who actually love me. I showed them everything. The videos, the recordings, the messages. I didn't have to say much after that. My mother's face turned pale. My father's jaw tightened. My sister muttered something under her breath that I won't repeat here. They were angry, but more than that, they were heartbroken for me. They wanted to call it off immediately, to confront Yvonne right then and there. But I told them no. If I was going to do this, I was going to do it my way. I looked each of them in the eye and gave one simple instruction. Don't show up tomorrow. They understood. The next morning, Yvonne must have woken up thinking it was going to be the happiest day of her life. The church was probably decorated beautifully. White flowers lining the aisle, soft music playing, guests dressed in their finest, waiting for the big moment. There was just one problem. There was no groom. At first, she must have thought it was a simple delay. Maybe I was stuck in traffic. Maybe I was running late. She must have checked her phone, expecting a quick on-my-way text. But there was nothing. She called. No answer. She called again, straight to voicemail. As time passed, the whispers must have started spreading through the church. Guests exchanging confused glances. Bridesmaids nervously looking at each other. Her parents' smiles fading. She kept calling me, over and over. First confused, then worried, then desperate. But I never answered, because by the time she was standing there, in her wedding dress, surrounded by hundreds of people waiting for a ceremony that would never happen, I was already gone, bags packed, miles away, in a place where she would never find me. As the realization hit her, her perfect day must have come crashing down, the weight of her actions finally catching up to her, in front of everyone. And for the first time, she had no control over the outcome. I never planned for what happened next. Someone from my family leaked everything, the videos, the messages, the recordings. And once the truth got out, there was no stopping it. Yvonne went from the happy bride to be to the woman everyone whispered about. The same people who once congratulated her on our engagement now avoided her, side-eyeing her in public. She tried to do damage control, of course. Tried to explain herself, to spin the story. But the evidence was too overwhelming. She called me nonstop, sent text after text, left long voicemails, starting off demanding answers and ending up crying, begging me to talk to her, saying it wasn't what it looked like. I never responded. Not once. Because what was there to say? Looking back, I learned a lot from this. First, never ignore red flags just because you love someone. Love doesn't excuse disrespect. Second, trust is everything. Once it's broken, it's almost impossible to fix. And third, never be so blinded by love that you forget to protect yourself. Yvonne made her choice, and I made mine. Now, I don't exist in her world anymore.